You all right, everyone? Stopped raining there. That's nice. I'm going to make the tea. Tea at 3. We're going to talk about assertiveness today and saying no. Get a few more people on. Just feel like I watched a couple back. It's really loud when my kettle boils. But anyway, I hope we're good. I've got some tea on the go. I've got some cakes today. I do like a cake. And I've gone for this little beauty. This is an Eat and Mess bite from a leading high street supermarket. Probably like to see themselves as quite top end. Other supermarkets are available, but they're unbelievable. Eat and Mess, just brilliant. You're all right, Jen. And I've got a question today. I've got a question, cake-related question. More people are leaving than joining at the moment. I'm slightly disturbed. So we're going to talk about assertiveness, saying no. Probably all need to do a bit of that. I'm just going to wait a minute or two, see if anybody else is going to come. But my question's cake-related today, and my question is about who was the first historical character, so a very famous historical character, who was the very first person to have icing on their wedding cake? That's my question today. Who was the first person to have, in fact, white icing on their wedding cake? So if anybody knows that, just type that in. Historical person, very famous. First person to have white icing on their... Where's everybody going? Nobody likes my questions. Nobody likes my cakes today. I'm getting a bit of answer on that. And come a bit further in the future. But actually not that far. All right. Oh, there's 3 people there, and it's not telling me there's even that many people watching. No, you've got to have another guest then. You're all right, Carly. Oh, it's coming back. They're flooding back. People coming on. Who was the first person to have icing on their wedding cake? Icing on their wedding cake. All I've got for the moment is Marie Antoinette, and I can tell you that's wrong. So, you have another guess. Yeah, have another guess, Gemma. See what you come up with. Right, Queen Victoria from Carly. Okay. Gone royal. Gone regal. Toy from my childhood today. With eagle eyes. Anyway, realistic care. Well, let's do some work. Let's help you be a little bit more assertive. Henry VIII. Henry VIII. You're going backwards. Henry VIII. Well, he would have had a lot of cakes, I suppose. So that would have been that. He would have had 6 cakes. Anyway, we're going to talk about assertiveness and saying no. So the first thing I want to talk about with assertiveness is what we talk about by it. So a lot of people understand we talk about like passive behaviour and aggressive behaviour, and there's like some sort of kind of scale, passive down this end, passive or submissive, what we want to say, and then aggressive here. And we kind of say, okay, passive is 1 and aggressive is 10. What's the scale? And sometimes people score themselves a 5, but that doesn't make them assertive. What that does is make them midway between passive and aggressive. So if you've got a flat line of passive and aggressive, assertive is like a skill, like in a balloon above it. So assertiveness is a skill, whereas passive and aggressive are kind of behaviours that they're kind of natural traits. So anybody can learn to be assertive. Anybody can learn to be assertive. The others are more natural behaviours, but then we can overlay assertiveness on it. Some people will be naturally better at it, in the same way that nobody's born able to juggle. Nobody's born able to be assertive. So it's all about how you learnt it. And you might have learnt it from a book, from a session like this, from your parents. And a lot of how we're kind of brought up, that will have an impact on how we communicate, how we perceive ourselves, and that will impact there. You sometimes hear a phrase as well. Some people go, oh yeah, sometimes they're quite, they can be a little bit over assertive sometimes. Normally over assertive is a passive person describing an aggressive person. So, you know, that's not, you can't really be over assertive. It's like, you know, light white, dark black, something like that. It's black or it's white. And the same with assertive. You're assertive, you're not assertive. For the people who joining me, my question today is, who was the famous historical person who had icing on, first had icing on their wedding cake? So if anybody wants to put that in. Probably if Matt Croft's on, he'll probably type in Adam or something like that. But it's not Adam. Anyway, so that's what it is. It's a skill. Some of the things that make it up, well, one is about self-confidence. Assertive people generally pretty confident, self-confident. So how do you boost yourself? Everybody's going for Queen Victoria. So Flora's gone for that as well. So how do you boost your confidence? You start looking at what you've achieved, what you've done, maybe writing stuff down. I've spoken about journaling before, but that can help. You think about what you've achieved in the last 12 weeks. It's massive. It can give you confidence. You've got to keep the balance between self-confidence and self-importance, though, because we don't want to do that. And so keep that confidence high about what I can do, what I can achieve. And it's also all right not to be able to do something, because if we want a definition of assertiveness, what I'm going to say is it's standing up for your rights and beliefs without impinging on the rights and beliefs of others. So it's standing up for what you believe in, but not upsetting the apple cart. And you hear sometimes people kind of say, oh, take me as you find me. That's not being assertive. That's kind of dismissing other people's views. So that's what an assertive person is. An easy definition really is they're very good communicators. If you know somebody who you believe to be assertive, I pretty much guarantee they're going to be a good communicator. If you know someone's a good communicator, I pretty much guarantee that they're going to be assertive. So those two things weave together really well. So what else do assertive people do? They focus on themselves because they can control themselves and how they react, how they respond. One of my previous little chats was about emotional intelligence. Assertive people are emotionally intelligent. So don't always try and change other people. Think about your behavior and what can you do that may influence and change the behaviors of others. Recognize that you can do better. So you can take feedback. I think assertive people take feedback well, positive and developmental. If you do get developmental people, it's still worth taking. Try and just avoid challenging it or rationalizing it away. That's one of the things that we really don't want to see, just rationalize it away. If somebody's taking the time to give you the feedback, don't kind of say, oh yeah, I normally do that. Yeah, take it, because otherwise people kind of think, oh, this person's not open to it. So we're like open communicators in there. Now, the big bit, and probably some things that a lot of people ask regularly, particularly in the UK, is about saying no. So we need something. How can we say no? Can we say no? Because when you look at values of most organisations that I see and I work with, there's always something about support, teamwork, collaboration, all of those things. And to say no sometimes feels like that it goes in a contravention to the value of the business. But a lot of those businesses have things like integrity, honesty, as well as a value. So I think if we want to say no, we can. What we need, therefore, in the UK, because we love a model, is we've got a model for you. So the model I'm going to introduce is the model IFA, and starts with the I. Really important it starts with I, because I is a really important word in assertiveness. Assertive people talk about I. I believe, I need, I want, that kind of thing. So very I focus, not in an arrogant way, but how I see it. And so the initial I, is about how you making sure you listen to the request. So you kind of show that you've taken on the information, and that's what it stands for. I for information. Begin with I, but then we show that we've listened. So we can use a phrase like I understand, I recognise, I appreciate, I acknowledge. Any one of those things with, following on from that, what we've heard, understood, recognised, appreciated. Try and avoid a phrase like I hear what you say, because generally when somebody says I hear what you say, but they haven't. So we want to avoid that one. But we could do something like I recognise the importance of dispatching all the material by 5 p.m. today. And then the person might say, oh, no, it doesn't all have to go today. I just needed the phone. So, it gives them a chance that you may have misinterpreted it, something like that. So make sure you repeat back in your own words your understanding of what you said. So like I say, I recognise, I understand, I appreciate, I acknowledge. Sometimes people say, don't say understand. I'm happy with a word as long as we explain it. Before we get to the next bit, we'll put a little link word in. A lot of people will say, don't say but I will say, just use it with caution. We can use a word like however, which is kind of turned into grown up for but. And we can use words like and, moreover, nonetheless, anything like that. Just to link it to the F. And the F on this occasion stands for fact. So the fact is, what is preventing you from acceding to the request? So what is stopping you? Is it you don't know how to do it? Is you've committed time elsewhere? Is someone else better placed to do it? So, we can think about it now. I appreciate the need to get everything dispatched by 5 p.m. However, I've already committed my time this afternoon to working on Kelly's project. Yeah, nice and simple. Now, the thing I like about the fact is it takes away the personal feelings. So there may be somebody who you don't get on with really well, and you think, oh, I just want to say no to this person. But if there's no real fact, you can't really say, I appreciate you need to get it out, however, I don't like you, because that's not a fact. That's not a strong enough fact. So really stick to the fact. Why can't we do it? Some people say that's enough, but I'm going to add in that we need the A right at the end, which can stand for alternative or action. I did have a guy on a program a little while ago, and he said to me, does the A stand for and now go away? But it's not that. It is just an alternative or an action. So I appreciate the need to get all the documentation out by 5. However, I've committed this afternoon to Kelly's project. The earliest I could look at that for you is tomorrow. And that simple IFA process, it shows that you've listened, it explains why you're unable to do the task, and also it offers a simple alternative. Now, the person might say to you, well, you've obviously listened to that Tier 3 chap, but I still need it done by 5. And then what I'm going to encourage you to do is go back to the start, IFA it again. Restate the information that you've listened to, restate the fact. Don't change the fact. Don't add anything else in, like, and then I've got to do some work for Jamie. Don't add in an extra fact, because if the fact was good enough in the first place, it remains the same. The only thing you might want to think about changing is the alternative. Is there something else? Can you offer somebody else to do the task? Can you maybe do half of it or something like that? I don't know, but that's the kind of first stage of negotiation. And that little IFA technique. Now, will it work all the time? Of course, I can't guarantee you success, because if you're going for success all the time, you're probably being overtly aggressive. What I want to do is give you your best chance of success. What I want you to do is walk away from the discussion and saying, do you know what? I did everything I could do. Sometimes, of course, you have the right not to be assertive. Sometimes you look at it and you go, do you know what? I'm just going to do that. If you find yourself doing that 25, 30 times on the trot, you're probably missing chances. So will it always work? No, but it will do better than you just go and give it here. Now, the thing is that's going to, if you just keep taking work on, that's more likely to lead to pressure, burnout, potentially stress. So identify what you should be doing. Some of the things I've been speaking about here, talking about time management, talking about resilience, all of those kind of things are weaved in, and assertiveness forms a part of it. But we can say no if it's something that makes us feel uncomfortable, perhaps. It's something without training, I'm unable to take that on. I'm happy to do it if I get some training, but I can't do it right now. Yeah. So simple IFA, and that's the way we can come across as more assertive and feel better in ourselves, I think. But as well, you do have that right not to be assertive, as I said. So there's some situations where you just don't need to be. Think about words like I need, I'd like, and I'd like is okay. It's an entry point of assertion. I'd like you to complete this document. I need you to complete this document. I want you to complete this document. So they're kind of levels, escalation levels. But as well with that assertiveness, when you make a request, make sure you're making a request to somebody. Don't just say, I want 12 copies of this by 3 o'clock. Yeah, because if there's 10 people there, they'll all leave it to each other. Whereas if you say, Julie, I need 10 copies by 3 o'clock, please can you make them for me? That's kind of a different thing. I'm just using that as an example. I know we don't all have somebody do a photocopying for us. All right. So the little simple things that we can do for assertiveness. There's a whole host of other things around body language, but I just wanted to give you what it is, what it isn't, and the simple thing of saying no. All right. Now, just get a bite of my very lovely cake. Eat and Mess, beautiful cake. Oh my God, sugar overload. Now, who did have white icing on their wedding cake? Famous historical character. My questions must be getting easy because 2 people got it right. Carly and Flora, you're right. It was Queen Victoria. I don't know if you're regular cake bakers. And that's why it's called royal icing. Who knew? Well, I didn't until I Googled it. So that's why it's called royal icing, because Queen Victoria was the first person to have it on her cake. So well done there. Now, Thursday, we're back again Thursday. And what I thought we'd do delegate on Thursday, we're doing a little bit of delegating, but delegating remotely because of the kind of the times we're in at the moment. Delegation is going to be a wee bit harder. I'm going to do a bit of remote delegation. That's what we're going to talk about. Everybody out there, have a great afternoon. Stay safe. I look forward to seeing you Thursday. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.